Hey, we live? Okay, perfect. All right, so my name's Adrian Glenn. This is military grade automation. If you're watching this, I want you to know some days are gonna be harder than others, but nobody really cares. You gotta get your hustle, you gotta keep grinding, you gotta be successful. So let's get to it. Today we are doing a Bethesda app, and it'll pretty much be related to all the Bethesda franchises and all the different IPs, Doom, Skyrim, Fallout, and we're just gonna have fun with it. We're gonna add as much features as we can, and yeah, make it interesting as always. So this is the mock-up image we are using to generate the baseline so that we can build the application. We also have the project requirement document as always. It's pretty much essentially a mirror of the other project requirement documents that we've been using so far. Let me go ahead and just give a quick example really quick while we have the actual app generating for us. So here's the overview of the app that we're creating. So Bethesda Lore Tracker is a mobile first web app that lets fans explore deep lore across 3 flagship IPs, Fallout, Elder Scrolls, and Starfield, powered by public lore APIs. Inspired by the retro-futuristic Pip-Boy interface, UI pairs a dark backdrop with glowing green accents and the iconic Pip-Boy font, designed for rapid delivery on Replit within 24 hours. So basically, we are making a Bethesda related application that can just add as much features as possible related to Bethesda. We might add in a feature for the actual tracking of quests. Potentially we can have just guides on quests. We can have links to different information, interesting facts. We can add an AI integration so that we can actually speak to different characters from these different worlds. It's a lot of different features we can add in. So let's just keep grinding. Let's make it happen. But yeah, so the actual baseline application is generating. As always, this is just the foundation that we're working with. And once this is completed, we'll be able to add a lot more details and features to the application. But yeah, so let's see what Replit interpreted from our project requirement document. All right, so the app is named Bethesda Lore Tracker, a Pip-Boy inspired web app for exploring Bethesda game lore across Fallout, Elder Scrolls, and Starfield. Pretty much what we already mentioned. Landing screen with 3 IP selection modules, lore browser, scrollable categories per IP, search functionality with autocomplete, filter system, detailed lore pages, favorite system, recently viewed carousel, and cross IP global search. So this is the baseline features that the app will be including. These are additional features that we could potentially add in that Replit is pretty much recommending. So it's recommending integrate real fandom, GraphQL API, and UESP API, add lore comparison mode between different IPs, implement offline mode, and add interactive lore quiz functionality. So these are just different features that Replit is recommending that we could potentially add in. But as always, we can really add in whatever we would like to. But yeah, this is the 18th app for the 18th day of our 30-day 30 app challenge. All right, so yeah, it's still loading up that foundation for us. Let me go grab my phone really quick while we are watching this load up. All right, cool. So got my phones. Yeah, but as always, the application always takes a moment to get initiated with the baseline app that we will be building off of. But it's with Replit, it's pretty much a snowball effect. You want to make sure that foundation is established correctly, and every additional feature is slightly easier to build on. And I always recommend just building one page, flesh that out as much as possible. Make sure you have all the data points that you are looking to reference, as far as APIs or any manual integrations that you wanted to add in. And once that is completed, every additional page will just be a lot smoother because you already have that foundation, and it'll have an understanding of how you want the site to look and how the data points should be referenced. So APIs, it's always important to make sure that things are working correctly before you establish wider use of them. Yep, but this PRD actually does have API integration, I believe. And as always, all of these API, or all of these project requirement documents are built using ChatGPT. So I basically just add in as much details as I feel would be needed to ChatGPT and request a project requirement document that will be able to be processed by Replit to create an application. ChatGPT then is able to create a baseline application project requirement document. I then create a mock-up image using that project requirement document and just verify that all of the features appear to be correct from there. And for instance, if I generate a project requirement document and then I generate a mock-up image, which is this is a mock-up image example. So if I were to generate a project requirement document and then request a mock-up image of that project requirement document, and the mock-up image didn't appear as if it was correct for what we're looking to create, then I would just ask for more changes and adjustments from there. For instance, in this project requirement document, it's green and darker background. I would potentially, if I wanted to change the color, once I saw that project requirement document, I would just let ChatGPT know, like, hey, make sure that you change the color to this color, or add a option to have different versions of the app color scheme, like a light mode, dark mode example, things like that. But yeah, those little additions and features are always easier to tweak, in my opinion, once I have a visual reference point instead of actually reading through the entire project requirement document. When you're creating your first project requirement document, it is great to have another project requirement document you potentially could reference, or just integrate it step by step, and add more features that you're specifically looking for. But at the end of this 30-day 30 app challenge, I'm giving away the 30 project requirement documents along with the 30 mock-up images and the 30 project requirement documents, 30 mock-up images, and the 30 generated apps as well. So everything that you guys see me use to create the projects and the actual projects themselves, I'll be giving them all away for free, just so that people can use those to reference and build their own projects. That's the entire goal of this process. I really just want to give people a foundation so that they can understand how to use these programs and make money with it, create their own systems and databases and projects and whatever, honestly, that they would like to. And as always, we will be creating this app with zero code at all. Everything will be automated using Replit. Okay. So this is a foundation for us here. Have Fallout, Elder Scrolls, Starfield. Okay. I thought it would be more Bethesda IPs, but it looks like it's just these three. I created 30 of these PRDs, so it's tough sometimes to remember the details specifically. But this seems okay. So we have Brotherhood of Steel here. It's a classic Fallout detail. We have Super Mutants. Okay. Vault 101. All right, and Nuka-Cola. So this is what it's generating for Fallout. Let's check out Elder Scrolls. Okay, Dragonborn. Tamarill. Have some basic details. It's giving us some quick facts. Okay. All right. And these are not clickable. I didn't expect them to be yet. These official sources are also not links that are actually able to be interacted with yet. All right, so then they have Daedra. All right, cool. So it's giving us some basic information. I'm pretty sure Starfield, yep, it's pretty much the same. All right, and we have a search function. Let's see if this is functional. All right, cool. So that is able to actually search the individual features. All right, so in this situation, like I mentioned, we want to focus on one of these individual IPs, right? So let's just start with Fallout since that's the first one on the list. Once we get this fully fleshed out and integrate as much features and different utilities as we would like to have, we can move on to the Elder Scrolls and then to the Starfield. So let's get it started. So in this situation, I'm thinking we could have different details and interesting facts about different components. I like how the Vault 101 Brotherhood of Steel, we can have a vault log potentially with every vault and details about each vault. Nuka-Cola. So Nuka-Cola, I'm not sure if this is necessarily going to be relevant, but we could have just iconic Fallout items, maybe bottle caps, Nuka-Cola, drawing a blank honestly on any additional related Fallout items specifically, but we could have maybe even a weapons log, right? Different armor log, just different details about the different utilities and items used in the Fallout universe. And Brotherhood of Steel, I'm already noticing with this, we could just easily reference the different factions of Fallout through each game. Super mutants, we can have a list of all the different enemy encounters that you could interact with. So each one of these can be basically their own category, and we can really flesh this out. We'll also have an AI component where we can ask the application any specifics. In the past, if you were playing a mission or have a quest that you were trying to achieve a goal on, you probably would most likely just Google the mission name, and then you may be able to find a guide step by step on that situation. What I would like to do is have this app function at an advanced version of that, where you basically just need to tell the app what your mission is and what you're trying to do, and it can talk back to you as if a human being had already played the app or had already played the mission and was giving you just guides on that one. For instance, if you were playing a mission, you're like, hey, I'm looking for this person, I can't find them. They could let you know, like, hey, this mission bugs out a lot of times, or this mission may mislead you. You should actually try over here, or this person travels from here to here. Different details or things like that that can give you more information on how the mission can be completed for you. But yeah, let's get things started. So let's see what ChatGPT or Replit is saying that it added in originally. So saying, I built a Pip-Boy inspired Bethesda lore tracker web app that lets you explore lore from Fallout, Elder Scrolls, and Starfield. Okay, so I'm not seeing any mention of APIs. I'm not seeing any mention of AI intelligence or anything like that. Just want to make sure that those features were not added in already. But first things first, let's go ahead and add an API integration so that we can get information from the Fallout universe. And to do that, we can just use ChatGPT, recommend us an API. As always, throughout this entire process, we always want to do everything that we can to 100% create these apps automated. Never want to actually do anything manual. That's a part of this challenge. Just attempting to do everything with AI components so that anybody can do it without any experience at all. All right, so have ChatGPT pulled up here, and we are going to ask ChatGPT, what is a good API to pull Bethesda game information? Or let's just say lore information. Yeah, lore information. Okay, cool. And this should be able to give us something interesting. All right, so it's generating that answer for us. Okay, fandom media wiki API is the recommendation, it looks like. Fandom media wiki API provides full article extracts, page metadata, images, and revision history from lore-focused wikis. All right, cool. So it looks like this might work for us. No API key required. That's nice. So we don't actually have to create an account, things like that. I'm trying to also use as much APIs without a key as possible. Just the goal is just to streamline this process as much as possible to make it easier for anybody to do it. So I mentioned Bethesda. So this mentioned Elder Scrolls and Fallout. I'm assuming that this may not have Starfield on here, but it should. It should. All right, so internet game database is another option. Titles, release dates, cover art, story. So this has artwork, which is great. We may need this as well for artwork. I didn't see any artwork mentioned in this, but let's go ahead and get things started though. And we have ROG, which is what I've been referencing in the past. This has been great. ROG is really nice. I actually used this to create a video game application earlier during this challenge. All right, so yeah, I have fandom py, which is a Python scraper, which pretty much means it combs through the fandom database and pulls information that we can reference. Okay. Unofficial Elder Scrolls pages. Doesn't expose a formal API. If you need data not on fandom, you can scrape their HTML. Okay. So this is an option that we could use potentially. Data scraping is different from APIs. It pretty much means you are automating pulling information from the site, whereas an API would be the owners of the site have actually created a way for you to pull the information. So they're basically expecting you to pull the information, whereas scraping is not information that they're expecting you to pull. It's just you kind of going out of your way and finding a workaround for that one. Could be considered kind of a hack, pretty much. All right, so let's reference the Fandom Media Wiki API. Okay. So let's just note, use this API to pull information related to Fallout. And note that in the let me catch this URL really quick. Okay, just want to note that URL so it knows exactly where we want that data input. All right, so just noting, use the API to pull information related to Fallout, and note that in the /universe/Fallout section. Replacing the stock information that exists now. Do not use stock information to fill in these sections. All right, cool. So just basically letting it know to reference that Fandom Media Wiki API so that we can make sure that we get that information that we're looking for. And also just noting that it should not be using any stock information, letting it know to replace the information that we have currently as well. So should be pretty straightforward. All right, so I'll integrate the Fandom Media Wiki API to pull the real Fallout lore data. Okay. So it seems like it's understanding what we're trying to do and it's getting that created for us. All right, so while that is processing the change, let's check out the site, see what else we need. All right, cool. So it's a pretty simple foundation here. Makes sense because each one of these is pretty much their own universe for the most part. So that definitely makes sense here. This home page, we could clean this up more, add some more features and different just nice looking art, things like that, just to make it look a little bit nicer. But each one of these individual sections are really where the bread and butter is going to be for us. And have that filter here. So locations, factions, characters, and items. That's pretty nice. Okay, so these four, yeah, we have 4 different genres of information that it's looking to add in here, and then we can actually manually type things in. I think it would be nice for each one of these different cards to have information related to where that exists. I like how it has the Fallout 3 here as an official source. So it definitely should reference which game is related. They have different NPCs, looks like, over here that are related to these different locations. So that's cool. That's cool. Makes sense. Makes sense. But we can add a lot more features to this for sure. I want to see how deep the depth of this database really goes and how much different pieces of information that we can just really get directly imported over. Also notice with ChatGPT, I had that official, no, where was that at the bottom? They had unofficial Elder Scrolls pages. I believe this sounds very interesting. To be honest, it seems like this may have all of the actual books that exist in the Bethesda universe, so that may be nice to pull information from. But it does say it doesn't have an API. We might need to scrape that information, and have not attempted to scrape information from sites during this process. So we might need to check out if that's something we're capable of doing. All right, so it is integrating that API information for us now. Seems to be working pretty fine so far. No issues. Okay. Seems to be going pretty good though. All right, once this has completed, we should be good to go. At least have a foundation to build off of for sure. And like I mentioned, that's really what it is about. When you're automating creation of applications, you really just want to make sure that you have a solid foundation and a path to add more information easily. So once you know that you can automate importing information or importing pictures or importing videos, things like that, whatever data point you're really looking to add in, long as you know that you're able to get that added in automatically and it works smoothly as expected, everything else becomes a lot easier from there. For example, once we get this Fallout portion created and everything's looking nice on that end, we can really just basically let it know, hey, use this same format for Elder Scrolls, then use the same format for Starfield, and it should be relatively pretty easy. For sure. But yep, let's see what we got so far. All right, still loading up for us. Testing the front end to see how it displays. Okay. So want to make sure we understand exactly what it's attempting to add in here. Successfully integrated fandom media wiki API, created fandom API service, real-time caching, authentic lore entries, actual images, smart feedback, a smart fallback to placeholder data for non-Fallout content. So that's something that we definitely need to inspect and most likely remove. Don't really like having placeholders here. They usually don't look well at all. For example, this is a placeholder image and it's just not really adding any value to the site. So yeah, still not seeing any image imports in here. Okay. But what do we have so far? So we did not have these yet. Originally, we didn't have Dog Meat, Super Mutants, Pit Boy. None of these were added in originally. So when we have characters and items, so it segmented the genres down to only 2, but none of these images are populating. So that's something to pay attention to for sure. First thing I want to note, let me see, where did it mention that stock image section? Okay. It says authentic lore entries with descriptions. So let's check out these descriptions really quick. Pretty simple. It's not really adding any more depth than we had originally. And none of these images are populating for us. Fallout section now shows genuine entries. Okay. All right, so where was that section where it mentioned the actual stock images? Actual images, smart fallback. Okay, do not use any placeholder images. Okay, so let's just keep it simple and let it know don't use placeholder images. See if we can get back from that. Okay. See what we can get back from this one. All right, so it looks like it's understanding that request. Now it's only going to pull in actual correct images for us. Yeah, one thing I noticed with Replit, it always tries to add in stock images for some reason, even if you request not to. Okay. So it's updating the details page with that change for us. Okay. Okay. All right. Yeah, so it's still loading up these changes for us. Let me add the missing Brotherhood of Steel entry and update the category mapping. Okay. Clear the cache. Okay, so it looks like it's reestablishing. Not seeing these images update yet, but that's why I did note that we had the other API. Where did that go? There was another API mentioned here that did not actually use, or that did reference actual images. Fandom mentions images here, but we're not getting those imported. IGDB also has cover art. So we would need more information than just cover art, ideally. ROG has, this is pretty much just general game information like you would see from most major websites like GameStop or Steam. But might need to try a scraper. But let's check it out though. Let's check it out. So it's restarting the server, getting things updated. Okay, real entries with actual images. All right, looks like it might have got that fixed for us. Many entries were skipped because they couldn't be found or didn't have sufficient content. Okay. All right, so it looks like it might have skipped a good amount of data points though. So let's just check, make sure things are looking correct. Yeah, it's still not updated yet. Could try that out though. See if we can reset the page. All right, let's try in another browser really quick just to make sure it's not caching things incorrectly. Okay. Okay. All right, so yeah, those images were not imported, seems like. So let's just let it know that. See if we can get that updated. Yeah, that's why it's always good to start with one page. For instance, if we were trying to just import all the information for each one of these, that would have definitely been a lot of legwork, just getting things fixed, or we would have just had to roll back. Okay, error. The images were not updated. For any of the cards, I guess you could say. All right, cool. So anytime you find an issue with Replit, you just want to copy and paste a screenshot of the issue, post that into the chat for Replit and note that there's an error and explain what that is. So just explain that the image was not updated for any of the cards. Okay. So yeah, it says cards are showing placeholder images for some reason. Lower card component correctly checks for entry.image and only shows the image if it exists. But it looks like those placeholder images are shown because CSS is adding a default background or the images are broken. I'm assuming that this API has a good amount of images for us to reference, and it seems like Replit is just having issues with the format that it's using. Most likely. Okay, image URL is valid and returns a 200 status. Let me check if there's a browser console error. Okay. Seems like it's getting things updated for us. I don't know. Yesterday we were having a good amount of problems with the import of images. It seemed like a Replit struggles with getting those images correctly added in sometimes. We were using a different API though, so it shouldn't apply, I don't believe, but let's check it out. Yeah, it's still not updating these images for us. It's weird. Huh. Okay. Found an issue. APIs correctly returning real images, but they might not be loading due to browser restrictions. Okay. I don't think this is a browser restriction issue. Yeah, it doesn't seem like a browser restriction issue, but let's check it out with a private browser. That may help us out. Okay. Yeah, no, it's still not populating anything. Okay. So I'll just note change the, or no, I'll just keep it simple. Say error. The images are still not updated. Let's try this one more time. Just keep it simple. Including using a separate browser. All right, note that we use a separate browser just in case Replit may not understand that part. It did mention that we should try F12 console tab, see if there's any error messages, but if we had any error messages, this wrench right here would show us a notification for errors, and it's not showing any error notification, so should be working fine. All right, looking at the screenshot, I can see the gray placeholder. Yeah, basically saying it understands the issue that we're experiencing. Can see the images are indeed loading successfully from the console logs. Okay, so it's clearly a problem with the front end. Let me try a completely different approach. Images are loading but not displaying. Okay. Saying it might be a browser caching, but it's not browser caching. Seems like it didn't understand that we noted that we tried on a separate browser. So yeah, I mean, Replit is great, but it's not a human being, right? So it's not going to understand everything correctly. Sometimes you got to work with it a little bit more. Just add a little bit more notes and details. Okay. Yeah, again, it's saying it fixed the issue. So it's definitely let's try one more time on a different browser, private. Might even try on Firefox just to verify. All right, still not loading there. Yeah, so we are trying on Firefox and we're trying on 2 different browsers, still not giving us the results we're looking for. Change the method you are attempting to import the images. I have tested on multiple browsers with the same results. Okay. All right, let's try this one more time, see if we can get better results. All right, so background image approach is still not working. Okay, so again, it says it understands the problem. Says it's receiving a 200 response, which means success. So it's not seeing an error. Okay, what is here? Now that wrench did have actual alerts, so ideally, I mean, that's pretty good, right? The fact that we're saying an error message now and we weren't before, but the images weren't loading, that implies that it's noticing the issue. So yeah, now looks like images are populating. Let me see. Okay. Yeah, so the individual cards, once you click them, are not populating images yet. Okay. These images also are not sized correctly. The head of this is cut off. You can't really see the stem pack. Dog meat is not loading an image. Okay. The goal is to make sure that these images and these cards can populate and show us all the information we're looking for, so that we can just request a lot more different cards to be added in, and they all should work smoothly once we get the foundation solid. But first thing we need to do is let it know that these cards, once we click them, are not populating images. Okay. The cards are not showing images once interacted with. Okay. All right, so that is progress though. We definitely do have these images at least showing. We can get these updated though, but I just want to make sure these images showing here really quick. Then we can get this images out here resized to fit correctly with what we're looking for. Okay. And we have characters, items. Okay. Okay. So image download successfully. Okay. Proxy's working. Okay. So it's trying to change the method and it's adding some debugging in here. All right. That's creepy. All right, cool. So now we have images populating inside of the actual cards as well. All right, cool. So let's make sure that this image populates for dog meat. Yeah. Let's get that corrected, because we don't want to add in like 100 different cards to give information and then they're not, some of them are just not showing. It would be way too much for us to fix manually. So all right, so error, one of the cards is not showing an image. All right, cool, because I did notice originally that Replit mentioned that it was only going to import the cards that had images that were able to be accessed. So I'm assuming that this dog meat card should have an image available, but it's just not being imported for some reason yet. All right, so it's getting that updated for us. All right. Saying it's updating the lower card component to handle entries. Okay. It says no image data here though, so that it's a little bit more specific, saying that there's no image for the card. Let's see what we get back from this. Okay, the image integration is now working successfully. All right, let's check out the change though. It looks like it's still updating. Okay. Still not populating an image for us. Okay. Added themed placeholder for entries without images. Okay. So it looks like it doesn't have an image reference point. So let's add a couple more APIs to reference as backups to get those images. This has cover art, Twitch developer account. Okay. All right. So fandom PY seems like it may work. Huh. Let's try Wikimedia for a backup. Use, or actually, I'm not even going to specify which API we should use. Let's just say use another API to reference as a backup to verify that all images or all cards have an image that shows. no card should use a placeholder or be empty. Or be empty. Okay, cool. So just letting it know that we need another API as a backup. I'm not 100% sure what the best API would be for this. I think potentially IGDB may be a good reference point, but this would require Twitch developer account. I'm trying to make sure that we can avoid API keys if possible. Official Bethesda software wiki. It sounds like it should have the information we need. So yeah, we could try this one out for sure. Yeah, we can try that out for sure. Official Bethesda software wiki, but let me see what Replit is recommending. It's saying I'm implementing a backup API. Okay. Updating the images. Starting with the generic image API as a fallback. So definitely don't want a generic image. Okay. All right, so most likely we'll need to use the official Bethesda software API. Same as media, okay. All right, so this doesn't require a key. We should be good. Let me see. Updating the lore cards, remove the no image data placeholders. Okay. Yeah, Replit has a very strong issue with understanding placeholder images are not wanted. It always tries to find a different opportunity to use a placeholder. It said stock image, generic image, placeholder. So there's a couple different words it uses, even if we call out don't use placeholders. So let's see. Use this as a backup API to add the images that may be missing. Do not use a generic image or placeholder. Okay, generic image, stock image, or placeholder image. All right, cool. So ideally it should understand what we're going for now. Yeah, see, now it's just using a generic stock image. So we mentioned a couple different versions of what a stock image would be. So ideally it'll understand the goal. We also have that official Bethesda software wiki fandom API mentioned here. Let's see if we can get back. All right. So just noted, use the official Bethesda software wiki for the API as a backup. Yeah, so this is pretty simple so far. We always try and wait a little bit to change that design, but once we get this functionality solid, we can update the design, and then we can add in a ton of more data points. We can get that AI integration and everything like that. So just need that cool foundation to build off of really quick. All right, replacing the lorem, pick some backup. All right. So it's replacing that generic API, the official Bethesda, updating the phantom storage. Okay. Then fallback. All right, cool. See what we get back from this one. Whoa. I don't know what this is. Does not seem like dog meat. That's like, I don't know what type of dog meat they're trying to show there, but that's not what we were looking for. All right, authentic images found. Okay. Backup search for dog meat found in Bethesda wikis shows the system successfully found an authentic image from another Bethesda fandom wiki. Okay. All right, so this is not the correct image. Let's just let it know this is not the correct image. So update the search functionality. All right. And again, at this point, we could manually add the image in, but we want to make sure that Replit understands exactly what we're looking for so that we can automate that at a wider scale. This is not the correct image. Update the search metrics to increase accuracy. Okay, cool. So just letting it know to update the search metrics. Usually with Replit, it has a filter whenever you're doing any specifics. For instance, if you are working with movies, the genre of movies, it'll have a filter, and a lot of times it'll add in movies that are not necessarily fitting for that genre. So you just need to let it know that it's not filtering correctly and increase the metrics. Test it a little bit here and there. But it's a lot easier than manually adding in all the information or anything like that. This image can be slightly resized. This also needs to be resized. Okay. It's decent foundation though. Something we can build off of for sure. Once we get that design updated, it'll look 10 times better. You see dog meat. All right, cool. So now we got dog meat, right? So just had to break it down a little bit, let it know, update the quality. All right, so these links aren't functional yet, but they will be. Okay. Got a decent breakdown as well. So it's a, we need to verify that these cards are showing the information correct. Looks like this is trying to pull in a text message or a text document. Okay. Yeah, so we can make sure that that's functional. Definitely want to make sure that these cards are showing accurate data format so that we can scale. All right. So it looks like dog meat is the only one that's having that problem. It's still updating these changes for us though. All right, so let me see. I can see the system is still finding dog meat through the backup search. It's likely still getting wrong images. All right, cool. See. Great, now we're getting the correct image. Okay, cool. Let me update Replit MD. All right, cool. Yeah, it's functional. It's building a little bit better. All right, so now we need to make sure that these descriptions are correct. So let's catch that screenshot. Okay. Well, first, let's actually get these images resized or correctly proportioned since we already been working on images. Okay. Yeah. Can just catch one of these really quick. So post that there. Error. Some of the images are not sized correctly to fit into the window accurately. Update the images to, or update. Yeah, let me just keep it simple right now. See if Replit can get that updated. If not, we can be a little bit more specific, but a lot of times less is more when you're working with Replit. All right, so we got a filter, characters, items. I'm also noting this is characters, right? Rad Roach is it's an enemy. This is an enemy. Okay, so we got that size a little bit better. Okay. All right, so yeah, this proportion is not the best. We need to just note that we can try to avoid the background or the white segments as much as possible. Okay. Okay, so I'll just copy an image right here and say error if the image will fit the character or item referenced in the window, do not resize it to show the white I guess background, you could say. If the image would not show the character, keep it as is. Okay, cool. And Replit is able to actually see these images like a human would, right? So it knows that this is a dog, and it should be able to process if the image is showing correctly or not. Let's see the result of this one. Might be a little bit too far for Replit to understand though, but let's test it out. All right, so this is still good. This is still good. All right, looks like it was able to comprehend that request. Okay. Yeah, this is updated. This was not updated. But let me see what we get back though. It might get updated though. And also, I mean, that image kind of doesn't fit. So it makes some sense. This has been better. Okay. Yeah, this is decent enough for now though. It's decent enough for now in this section. We can get this tweaked, but it might need a little bit more manual polish on here. But let's go ahead and let's add more, or actually let's update the design of this page. So I'm gonna add some more features in here, but I would like to get this page designed a lot better for now. Yeah, here it's working fine. Okay. This is still looking good in here. Okay. So, it would look better with a black background, but this would not look as good with a black background. So right now let's leave it. Let's get this design updated. Okay. Error. Update the design of the website to be a lot more visually pleasing. Add in animations and interesting features to access the information. All right, cool. So a lot of times usually like to get the design updated later throughout the process, but in this situation, let's just switch things up a little bit and get the design updated earlier. All right, so now enhance the visual design with better animations, hover effects, and interactive features. Cool. Starting by improving the CSS animations. All right, cool. So we're adding in some animations and different cool features to make things look a lot nicer. Okay. I think it might have added in that hover aspect with the glow already. Okay. Yeah, this is looking decent. But it's still updating though. Yeah, this will look really nice on the phone. Yeah, it's still updating these changes, but already noticing these are too sharp around here. That glow mechanic is nice, but having this sharp angles within there doesn't look nice really. Let me see, it's still changing. All right, so enhancing the home page and detail page with better animations and visual effects. Okay. Still updating. See what we get back. Okay. Yeah, we still need to get these the information inside of these cards updated slightly. For some reason, dog meat specifically has all these text documents that are being referenced. But I didn't notice that anywhere else though. Just make sure that that's not popping up anywhere else yet. Yeah, we definitely want to clean up slightly that information that's shown in these cards before we import more cards in. Okay. yeah, I think it's wrapping up those changes for us now, as far as the design. Okay, so already noticed that we need to get this glow updated or changed. It's looking pretty ugly. So we can do is just catch that glow, catch a screenshot of that, paste that here. Okay, error, the glow around the titles is not visually pleasing. Change the method of or change the style. No. Let me just say it's not visually pleasing. Let it get that updated for us. See what we can get as a recommendation. The background glow for these cards is fine. But yeah, that just looks very cheap. I don't know. I think maybe if you added round edges around that, but you could remove it. Honestly, it's not needed. I see how the Fallout character portion of the card lights up when you highlight it. It's pretty clean. It's pretty clean. Got that little reflection over the cards. It's decent. It's decent enough. Okay. Hold on. The main page, yeah, this also will need to be updated, but we can catch that last. I like to start with the individual pages and go to the home page last when we have the reason why I like to do the home page last, because we'll have so much more data points for Replit to understand exactly what we're going for with the look, that the home page will probably end up looking just the best out of all the pages, if not one of them. But yeah, we got that. All right, we got that resolved. Let me see. Let me just note that some of this information is not accurately formatted. We have these text documents attempting to be added into the details. Let me see. Okay. Oh, hold on. Let me see that. That was clean. Okay, cool. That's a clean little addition. I like that animation that they show when you open the page. Looks pretty nice. Okay. All right, so just copy and paste this actual data that's shown inside of these cards. Say error. The cards are adding incorrectly formatted information, like, and let me just copy actually one of these text document points just so we can understand exactly what we're saying. All right, and to the descriptions. All right, cool. So I should be able to get that updated for us. Ideally, I'm not sure what information should be shown in replacement of these text documents. If it's a text document, then there should be text that it may be able to access. I don't know, it may replace that information or just gut it, but it's mentioning dialogue. So yeah, I'm assuming it's just what the dog would say in the different games. So yeah, I'm not sure how to edit this, but it should clean things up for us. All right, cool. But yeah, it seemed like only dog meat has that. Okay. Yeah, I really wish this had a black background, but I don't want this to have a black background, so I'm kind of torn between them. Yeah, for now I'll leave it though. Okay. Fandom APIs returning raw content that includes technical file references in the page extract. adding a content cleaning function to filter out these technical aspects. All right, cool. So most likely got that updated. Let's just double check that. All right, cool. So it's a lot more condensed. Okay, dog meat may refer to companion, CX404, a canine companion. Okay. After being rescued by the ghouls in the Fallout TV series, a possible canine companion of the player character in Fallout. Hold on, let me make sure that this is logical. Dog meat may refer to companion, a canine companion of Siggy Wilzig, later named Dog Meat after being rescued by the ghoul in Fallout TV series. Dog Meat, Fallout, a possible canine companion of the player character in Fallout and Fallout 2. Yeah, this is kind of illogical. In Fallout 2, Dog Meat, a possible canine companion of, this data is not necessarily showing up logically. So let's just note that. Replit can read though, so it should be able to understand that the information is not logical. So error, the description in the cards is not logical. Read the description and organize it to make sense. Yeah, it should be able to get that updated for us, though. We just need these to be logical. It seems like dog meat specifically is the one that's having some issues. It seemed like it was more coherent before we gutted those text document portions. Feral ghoul, also known as mind gaze zombie ghoul, crazy feral. Okay. Portion of ghouls that have lost their upper faculties. This seems like it makes more sense. Much of the xenophobic prejudice against the ghoul kind by humans is due to the widespread assumptions that becoming feral is an inevitable outcome of all ghouls, causing them to be shunned. All right, this makes more sense. It's logical at least, but I don't like the fact that everything is in one paragraph. There's no sections between this information. We can add more detail as well, but for now, I just want to make sure that this is logical. All right, so let me see what it attempted to add in. Fixed data processing to remove technical file references, added content cleaning. Yeah, this is the original change. All right, I can see the description is disorganized and reads like a jumbled list. Okay. Content mentions multiple Fallout games and variations. All right, cool. So it looks like it understood that. We can get that updated ideally. Cool. All right, so let me see. Reorganize descriptions to be logical. Let's check it out. Dog meat is a beloved canine companion who appears throughout the Fallout series. This loyal German Shepherd assists the players. Okay, so let me see if it mentioned how I got this information. I don't want it to manually add in this. The descriptions are now much more organized and readable instead of fragmented. Okay. Enhanced content organization. Reorganize. Added comprehensive facts. Okay. Ensured all descriptions are natural. All right, so it didn't mention necessarily if it manually added in that information. Ideally, it didn't, but I guess we'll find out. Yeah. So actually, instead of waiting to find out, let's just use the assistant. If you click this plus arrow right here, it'll give you another tab and you can pull up an assistant and you can just ask it any question that you would like to. So let's just ask, is the Fallout character card data being manually added or imported from an API? All right, let me catch a screenshot on this. And the assistant portion is great to ask questions and just get more clarity. Whereas just the main agent section is really for making changes. The assistant can make changes, but it's just it's better to use it just to reference information. And it pulls information from Claude 4.0 Sonnet. All right, so let me see. Being imported from an API. Okay. All right, so it looks like it is pulling from the API. System processed the raw API data. You can see it, because I don't want it to necessarily manually add information because we want to be able to scale this. Dog meat card was automatically generated, not manually added. System only included entries that have both meaningful content. Okay, cool. So it just removed information that wasn't logical, which is nice. That's perfect, actually. That is perfect. All right, cool. So let's get this rolling. Now we can scale. So, well, first off, before we scale, we need to make sure that these are segmented correctly. The way they're organizing with characters and items isn't accurate. This is a enemy. This is an enemy. Yeah, most of these are enemies, not characters. So, we organize the Fallout card. Reorganize the card genres to include enemies, items, characters, etc. All right, cool. So let me just catch that portion that actually has these sections, so it knows where to change or what to change. And it should be able to get these updated for us. If not, we can be more specific, but I believe it should be able to understand. All right, I can see the current filter categories are just characters and items. Need to reorganize the categories. All right, cool. It's updating that for us. This is going to look amazing on the phone. Looks decent here so far, but we're definitely going to add so much more features to this, and that AI component, everything as always. All right. So far, it's all right, though. It's pretty decent. This picture is killing me, though. Specifically, just this one image is just killing me with that white outline. So, I don't know. But let's see what we can get. Trying not to manually edit anything. All right. Updating the category labels to be more descriptive. Okay. Let's see what filters we have now. Enemies, technology, equipment, items, characters. Nice. All right, cool. So how much do we have right now? 8, 9. All right, cool. So update the amount of cards to, let's just say, for now, let's just say 10, just to make sure it can add one. And then we can scale from 10 to 20 to 50 to 100 to 1,000. All right, so yeah, we just want to make sure everything's smooth and functional. Okay. Catch that screenshot as always. All right, cool. So it has 9 now, so we're really only adding 1. But I'm specifically noting scale it to 10, so I know that it understands what we're trying to do. Instead of just saying add one more card, we're saying scale it to 10, so it has to count that amount here and add one more. I like this animation style though. It's pretty clean. Pretty clean. That fade in on the side, that's pretty nice too. That's pretty nice. Yeah, it's cool. It's cool. Not too bad, not too bad. Yeah, once this is fleshed out, we can just pretty much, for the Bethesda side, we can just say mimic the Fallout style and add in the same amount of information and things like that. All right, so now we have 3, 6, 9, 10. So now we got laser rifles in. Okay. Yeah. We're going to change the background from white to black. Okay. Change the image background from white to black. All right, cool. So it should be able to get that updated. That white is just, it's clashing really hard and it stands out a lot. Might be a better way to reformat the size of these images, but for now, just makes sense to get that black in there so it'll be less noticeable. Cause this specifically is kind of throwing things off. But we'll see. Let's see what we get back. Honestly, I probably should have just asked it to change it so to be less noticeable. But that black looks nice. Okay, and it was able to actually remove the entire background for this. That's nice. I didn't know it could do that. That's cool. All right, so now let's add in. We know we were able to add in another card and it was functional. That's cool. All right, so change the amount of cards from 10 to 20. All right, cool. So we were able to add 1. Let's see if we can add 10. Let's see if we can double it. Okay. And once we are able to verify that this is able to scale correctly and we're not running into any problems, once we get to the Skyrim and the Starfield portions, should be pretty easy to just import as much as we want all at once. Okay. And this is logical too. The laser rifle's powerful energy weapon. I like how it's not just showing a gun. It actually has a cool comic book style format. That looks really nice. These links aren't functional yet, but they will be. So related entries. So we need to make sure that these related entries are actually added in. Yeah. Energy weapons, pre-war tech. All right, cool. Yeah, it's working all right so far though. Let's just get those other related entries added in. When I say scale to 100, I'm gonna say I'll just note to make sure that the related entries are included in the amount of cards being added or in the group of cards being added. And we can also note that the link should function. All right, cool. So it's working on scaling still. All right, so it looks like that should be completed. Let's check it out. Okay. So we got 3, 6, 12, 18, 19, 4, 7, 10, 15, or 13, 16, 19. Yeah, why did I add 19? Am I tripping? 3, 6, 9, 12, 15, 18, 19. Yeah, it only added 19 for some reason. And it changed the... Oh, that's laser rifle. We have laser pistol also, though. Okay. Yeah, it's interesting it only added 19. Only see 19. All right, so let me zoom out on this so we can see exactly how much we have showing. Always good to catch the URL in your screenshot. And I'll say 19 out of 20 just so it knows that we're expecting 20, but we only have 19. Let me make sure I didn't ask for 19. Yeah, I didn't. I asked for 20. Okay. Yep. Make sure these filters are still functional. Okay. Yeah, it looks like the filters are all right. Working well. It's really nice how I was able to remove, it's automatically removing backgrounds and changing it to black. That's nice because these images originally have white backgrounds, so that's cool that it's able to edit that portion as well. You see. All right. Yeah, so it did actually. All right, cool. So it never tried to add in 20. It only tried to add in 19. So let me see. 3, 6, 9, 12, 15, 18, 19. Yeah, it still has 19. Yeah, that's why we didn't scale to 100 yet. It's a weird problem. It's weird because it's not adding 20 and showing 19. It actually is only adding in 19. So that's pretty weird. Let me check on a private browser though, just to make sure it's not caching any information. All right, so let's catch that URL, try it on a private browser. Okay, so we have 3, 6, 9, 12, 15, 18. Yeah, still have a 19. All right. All right, the page still only shows 19. Let me see. Yeah, I mean, it understands the request. Should be able to update that pretty easily, though. I'm not sure what's the problem. But let's check it out. Yeah, see, the animation's even extended to these different portions. This will be so easy to update both of these two. Definitely want to change the background color scheme and things like that once you enter any of these individual sections. But we still need to add the AI component so we can ask about different lore information and have different questions related to different missions and things like that. You might want to find out details on. We could add a whole log of quests and things, but why not just have the AI answer your information for you, right? Like, we're in the future. So I can see the issue, Vault Boys being skipped because no valid content was found. Okay. It's interesting. Said no valid content was found. That's weird. I wonder why I wouldn't have been able to find any valid content. That's weird. I'm not sure why it's having this. It's a very specific issue that it's having. Can't add that one extra one. Okay, so replace the Vault Boy. So it's saying it replaced a card so we could have 20. But we only had 19 and we still only have 19. So let me let it know it needs to change the attempt style or the way it's trying to attempt to add in the cards. Okay, so error. Only 19 cards are showing still. Change the attempted method of adding cards. To add in a total of 20, not 19. Do not replace any existing cards. Any existing cards. Okay. So I just wanted to note specifically, don't replace any of the existing cards. Yeah, you never know what's gonna have it's gonna cause issues with Replit. Ironically, it usually is pretty well at the major changes, but the smaller ones can have some problems. But that's why it's important to scale up step by step. Let me see. All right, understand the issue. Fandom API is not reliably returning content. Okay. Oh, now it's trying to manually add in entries. So we never want to manually add in anything. That's the benefit of using AI, because if we need 1,000 entries, now it'll manually add 1,000. That's a lot more expensive and it's just less functional. You can see here, you try to add bottle caps, but we don't even have an image for it. So, okay. Just say error, do not manually add in any cards. Use the API to pull the information. Change the attempted method of accessing the API if needed. And I'll just note at the end, because when you're prompt engineering, the final information that's showing to the AI is the information that takes the most priority. So I'll just note again, do not use any manually added information. All right. And I'll just note that page again. Okay. All right, cool. So I see it added in some animations here for these different images too. So it's pretty decent. We'll definitely need to get these updated, but it's nice that it was able to add that animation there. All right, so understand, need to only use the API. Okay. Entries are not being found by the fandom API. Let me modify the approach to try different search terms. Okay. Yeah, this API definitely has way more points of information than we would need. So I'm not sure why that problem is showing up. Then we have static wikia no cookies.net. Okay. So it looks like this is the manually added image that they tried to add in that didn't load up. Okay. You see what we get back. Still loading up those changes for us. Okay. All right, so now we have 20. All right, so it's still loading up those changes. I want to see what it mentions as a result. Remove manual card addition. Expand the API search to include 25 plus. Okay, I only asked for 20. The system now tries more entries for the fandom to ensure it finds exactly 20. All right, cool. So now instead of just going for exactly 20, it goes for 25 pieces of information, but it only shows 20 in case one of the 25 doesn't load up. We still have backup options. So that's an efficient way to change things up. And we have 20. So that's nice. So now it has a troubleshooting method to verify that all the information we need to add in is going to show up. Or whatever amount of cards that we need. So let's expand this to 100 now that we know that we can scale up. So I'm catching this screenshot of one of the individual pictures because I wanted to know the related entries need to be added. So we'll just make sure it adds in the related entries for each of these individual cards. But outside of that, it can just add in whatever it wants. Just want to make sure that these are able to be functional links to the related entries. All right, so let me zoom out again. Okay. Scale up to 100 cards from the 20 that exist. Okay. Do not replace the existing cards. All right, so reference the related entries to have a guide of what cards to add. Once all the related entries are added, expand the search. Expand the search. Once the related entries are added, no, let me just remove that whole portion. Actually, it knows that it needs to add the related entries, and it should be able to understand we need 100 total. Make sure the related entries are added, so it should be able to function. Yup. It has that 20 entries noted here. This needs to be cleaned up, but we want to get this fully fleshed out before we work on the other pages. All right, so it's expanded from 20 to 100. Looking at the related entries from the existing cards, can see references to many more Fallout items. Okay, cool. All right, cool. So it's understanding the request. first thing I mentioned is add 100 total, so it should be able to understand if it wouldn't equal 100 with those related entries to just fill in the blanks. If not, we can just let it know, expand the amount of cars to 100. Just want to make sure that these related entries are added in so that we can make these links functional. And it has the effects right here too. That's nice. That's nice. We got to add more details to these cards though. Or actually, we don't necessarily need more details on these individual cards. We just need more different segments that we can add more features in general. The cards are fine. Okay. Looks like it might be good. It's at least made progress. Let's check it out. Okay. So we got, let me see how long these rows are. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 17, 20, 24, 48. Okay. So 48, 70, 71. 71 total. Okay. So I want to make sure that ChatGPT or that Replit understands how much cards are here. So I'm going to ask it how much cards were added to the Fallout segment. Oh, actually, we don't even need to do that since it lists the amount of cards here. I just want to make sure it doesn't think 100 are added. All right, cool. So it knows. All right. So like I said, it's most likely just referencing the related information. So it might not have had as much needed, which is perfectly fine. Let's just note, expand the amount. Oh, no. Let's actually make sure that these links function. This Fallout universe, post-war America. Okay, so I'm going to catch that screenshot. And we're going to catch a screenshot of the full page. Expand the amount. Oh, no. Let's note error. The related entries links do not function. All right, cool. So it should be able to make these links work for us. Definitely want to be able to click these and go to wherever they would connect to. So not 100% sure how it's going to update this, but ideally it'll just add in the cards if needed or have some type of logical point for these links to go to, and then it'll make the links function correctly. But I noticed with these, the related entries, they only have Fallout Universe, Post-War America, and Nuclear Wasteland. And the original cards that we had in here, check locations, Fallout Universe. Okay, so these are not the original cards either. All right, so yeah, it seems like they might have changed the related entries. Okay, cool. So these have the correct items in here. All right, cool. Brotherhood of Steel. So each one of these, yeah. Hopefully from this update, each one of these will be clickable and we'll be able to go to the related cards. Okay. So it has the weight, power, fusion. Okay. And again, these different cards are just really just interesting pieces of information from the Fallout universe. Any specific information, we don't have to worry about using these cards. This is more if you're just curious, but we're going to add the AI component, so we don't need to have a million different cards. You can just actually ask the AI for any pieces of information directly. Just makes more sense, right? Like, why would you want to have different sections for all the different information when you could just have one AI to ask? Okay. So let me make sure understood the request. Okay. I need to fix the related entry functions. I see the issue. Modifying the generate related function to return actual entry IDs. Okay. See. Related entries now display actual items from your lore and link directly to the detail pages. All right, cool. All right, cool. So we got that functionality. Nice. Fast too. Clean animations as well. Looks really nice. All right, cool. So it understood. It just replaced the generic information with logical information. Made sure everything worked. It's cool. All right, cool. So now, all right. So now we need to expand the amount of cards to 100. Expand the total Fallout cards to 100. And verify each card has the functionality that currently exists in the 71. For the 71 that are in place now. All right, cool. So yeah, let's just get that to 100 really quick. Once we get that 100, it'll have a lot more understanding of what we're going for, and then we can scale that up to 1,000 as the goal. And then for Elder Scrolls, we're literally just going to be able to say, take the guide or take the format of the Fallout portion and add that to the Elder Scrolls portion, and it'll just do everything that we're looking for. Import that over, make sure everything's functional. But we want to add the AI component. Want to add something else. I don't know what else to add. We could potentially have Fallout's the only one with a TV show. I was gonna say we could have links to the TV show and details there, but that would only apply to Fallout right now. Definitely need to clean this homepage up, but that, like I said, that's last. All right, so it looks like we have the 100. Let's just make sure that's correct though. Seems like it. Yeah, it's noting that there's 100, so I mean, it seems like it's 100. It's more than it was for sure. Okay. Okay. So expanded search list with 50 plus additional Fallout entries. Okay. System will now search 200 plus entries to find exactly 100 valid cards. Cool. All right. So let's just make sure that these cards still work and there's no weird problems. Okay. All right, so now each one of these cards are functional. They give logical information here, and they are able to link to other related entries as well. We can add the Fallout wiki and fandom links. That's not a big deal though. We can add that whenever. But yeah, these are functional. So let's make sure the genres are sorting correctly. These are weapons. Okay. Items. Cool. Equipment. Cool. Specials, ruthless power, acronym. Okay. Okay. And these are some locations, Far Harbor and Nuka World. So we can add more of each of these. Let's actually, right now, let's just scale this up to 1,000. Okay. From the 100 that exists now. Okay. As always, want to catch a quick screenshot just so it can have more reference point. Okay. And I feel as though it will be beneficial we could have a lore artificial intelligence that could be the Pit-Boy. right? So it'll act like the Pit Boy would act, and it'll have the personality of the Pit Boy, etc., etc. But we can also have a mission AI that can be Cogsworth, and the mission AI can actually link to videos related to each specific mission. So if you have any questions or you need any specific details, it can link to a video that'll give you a guide, or it can just give you details if you need to get those as well. So I think that'll be useful. No point in really adding in. We could manually add in all the different mission guides, but I mean, who wants to read a guide when you can just watch a video or just ask AI? All right, so scaling up from 100 to 1,000. Okay. Okay. Seems like it's functional. Seems like it's working fine. Yeah, so Cogsworth, this can be... I don't know who we're going to use for the Elder Scrolls, but we can find some people to use for the Elder Scrolls. And in Starfield, we could use some of the, I don't know, some of the Starfield people. It's no big deal, really. Just check out who makes sense. For sure. All right, so, but yeah, so far, I mean, it seems like it's going pretty smooth. Got these lore trackers, and we can just add the AI entries up here to squares above the lore searching functionality. That'd be pretty cool. We could add like pictures and things like that too, but I don't think anybody would really care about that. Really, a lot of places you can go to find screenshots from the video games. This is more like just for people who love Bethesda games. If you want information about the lore, or you want to just or you're playing the games and you actually need details or help. All right, so it's processing those changes. Yeah, I thought this would be useful because I was playing one of the Oblivion, and I was trying to find guides on the missions and things like that, and it seemed like it was pretty confusing, to be honest. So if we could have the AI ideally generate maybe potentially a map of where you should go, or at least just give you a breakdown, that'd be pretty cool. All right, so restarting the workflow. Okay. 1,000 cards. All right, cool. So should have that 1,000 cards now. Zoomed all the way out. All right, so 154 entries. All right, so it looks like it wasn't able to get the full 1,000. Let's just let it know so it can get updated. It definitely has 1,000 cards that it can pull, so it should be able to get. Currently processing 154 out of 1,000 cards. Search through 2,000 potential entries. The massive collection is building with entries from across the entire Fallout universe. All new cards maintain the same high quality functionality. Okay. How does the expanding 1,000 card collection look? Well, it doesn't look like 1,000 cards, so let's see if we can refresh. Might need to reset the server really quick. I want to see if it repopulates the amount of cards when we reset the server. And you can always reset the server up here. All right. Okay, so once you click the section, it loads. I want to see if it's able to pull more though. See if that's processing. Okay, so these are definitely different. See how much we have. 154 again. That's interesting. All right, so let's try and get that updated then. So update the method attempted to pull the cards to verify that we will actually receive 1,000. I'll just know we should never receive under 1,000 cards. Or let me be specific. Never receive under or over 1,000 cards. It's kind of like asking a genie for a wish a little bit with this. Like, if you don't say things exactly, it could cause some problems. Careful what you wish for, because you could break your app. So, all right, cool. So just dropped in that image as always, letting it know we need exactly 1,000, not more, not less. And hopefully we can get that updated correctly. All right, improving the card collection method. Okay. Okay, so we're hitting the API rate limit. Okay. So if the rate limit is an issue, then that might be an optimization thing that honestly with the optimization it's always better to just kind of slow down and take that step by step. So I'll probably might just optimize that behind the scenes a little bit if it's not able to correctly pull these 1,000 cards. Because really the solution is to cache the information. So once we pull in the information from these cards, it saves that information so we don't have to keep referencing the API. But Replit, it struggles sometimes with caching and you got to be a little bit delicate with it. So I'm trying to keep the ball rolling though. We have 2 other universes to touch on. We still need to add the AI components and things like that. So I'm trying to keep rolling. Let's see what we get back from here though. We should at least be able to get more than 154. Like that's really nothing compared to, I'm sure there's thousands of cards that we can reference. Let's see, get that updated. Okay. So let me replace the correct sections. Okay. All right, so I need to clean up the broken file structure. All right, cool. So it's edited in the format that it's using to pull the information. Should be cool. All right. See what we can get. I'm just trying to make sure no issues show up when it starts reformatting at times like this. After we have a pretty solid foundation, it can easily get caught in loops and have problems and break things. So it's trying to pay attention to these messages that it's relaying to us. All right. So yeah, it's still cleaning up the broken file structure. Okay. All right, seems like it's working smooth though, but let me see that these cards are still functional though. Yeah, these are logical. These are working. Okay. Let's make sure these sections are cool. Weapons. Items. Giant ant is not an item. I don't think. Nicole is not an item. Neither is Henry. So yeah, we need to definitely update the format of how it's segmenting these guys. But it might be updated though, so I'm not too sure. Let's just check that out. Let's let it do its thing really quick. Okay. So yeah, still cleaning up the corrupted sections and replacing them with clean code. Okay. All right, so implemented robust batch processing. Added controlled rate limiting with 20 entry batch and 1 second delays to avoid API limits. Cool. Because the API limit was really the problem. It was just these APIs have data limits. You can't pull too much information at once. So it might take a little bit longer to load the information for us, but it should be accurate this time. And I'm guessing it probably added a caching mechanic so we don't have to keep worrying about loading. Let me see. Fix duplicate code issues. Enhance progress tracking. Created 2-pass collection. Okay. Added control rate limit. Yeah, I'm not seeing any mention of caching. Okay. See what we get back though. Yeah, it's still loading. Okay. I'm assuming it'll load though, but 20 entries per second. So 5 seconds would be 100 entries. So 50 seconds. So it should take about a minute. To get everything pulled in. See if it processes that change for us though. Oh yeah, I would be trying to access that twice, right? All right, so I think it's been over a minute. Yeah, pretty sure it's been over a minute. See if any let me try it in here so I can see if any error messages show up. Not seeing any errors. It's connected, so no problems are showing up yet. Let me see. Yeah, it did load up. Okay. And we have 155 entries. Okay, so yeah, this is an optimization thing that's gonna need to be worked on with the API access, and I got caught yesterday and for about 2 hours trying to update the API call strategy. So let's just leave this for now. We do have a good amount of information showing this updated correctly. We just need more entry points, but for now, let's add in the AI component. I can double back on this if anybody's interested, and we can flesh this out a little bit more as far as the optimization. One of the 30 apps that we build throughout this 30-day 30 app challenge will be fully fleshed out into an app that will be launched. So if people are interested in this, then this can be the app that we do. So let me see. So basically I just caught a screenshot of this Fallout page, and I'll just note above the lore entries box, add 2 separate AI personalities. Okay. Cogsworth used for information related to missions. Uses Cogsworth personality. Worth personality. Should be able to give detailed mission information or link videos the user can use. The user would benefit from to find the answer. Good question. All right, cool. So I just want to make sure Cogsworth can actually link the videos to on top of just giving information. So, and we need another personality to give another personality. So we have Cogsworth for the missions, and we should have someone else to just break down details about Fallout. So I think it would be cool to use, who's that news reporter? After this, we need to make sure that the filters are working correctly, because I remember, yeah, characters is only dog meat, but items is like showing everybody. Father. James. I'm horrible with names. I don't remember any of these people who are. Let's get that news reporter girl. All right, so Google. Oh no, okay. Fallout 4 news reporter. Piper. It's not letting me highlight. Okay, cool. Let me get that. Make sure it's cool. All right, cool. Boom. So we got Cogsworth for the missions. All right. Uses personality. Gives lore information about the Fallout universe. All right, cool. So it should be able to get these 2 AI components added in for us. One for the missions, one for the lore. Is this animated? Oh, that's animated. That's really cool. That is cool. So they got GIFs in here too. Okay. Yeah, if we end up fleshing this app into a full-fledged project, we could definitely make sure that these reference GIFs if possible, because that looks really cool. Not seeing any other ones use GIFs, so. Huh. Always wondered if it was GIF or GIF, to be honest. All right, cool. So I added in 2 AI personalities. It didn't ask me for the OpenAI key, so I'm assuming it's using the local AI component that Replit has, but I want to use OpenAI, to be honest. Okay, it did ask. All right, cool. All right, so we got the OpenAI pulling up. So basically, once this is completed, we should just be able to say, add in all of the same functionality to the Skyrim section as we have for the Fallout section. Replace the AI characters, personalities with these. So whoever we want to use for Skyrim, we can just replace that. Yeah, we still got to optimize this card calling mechanic because it's just like, it's taking forever. It's taking forever. It's still loading up those changes for us, but it limited the API calls, but it wasn't even able to pull 1,000 different cards for us. So it just slowed down the call. All right, so it's adding in the API routes for the AI personalities, creating the front end components. All right, now it's creating the AI personalities for us. I want to make sure Cogsworth can actually link videos too, because we need video aspects. That is really useful. Instead of searching for the best video to give you details on a mission, you know, just being able to ask Cogsworth is real value. All right, so integrating the AI personalities into the universe page above the lore entries. Okay. Still loading. Let me correct the imports in the universe. Okay. Still getting those changes done for us. And this thing is still loading too. And the thing is, we're gonna need to reload it once the AI is added in too. So let me stop this loading here, so we can at least slow that down. It might be slowing it down because it's loading both at the same time. Okay. I'm gonna let this complete before we try and get things done. Okay, so we got Cogsworth and we got Piper. So Piper is good for the lore. We could change these messages to actually be more fitting for the characters. But Cogsworth, how would I find my father in Fallout 3? Failed to get response. Oh, it's still loading the changes for us. Okay. Rewriting the AI personality components. Yeah, it's still updating things and changing things for us. Okay. See. Yeah, so it still has those card entries in here for us. I don't believe it'll need to call the lore entry APIs when we update the AI section. So we shouldn't need to deal with that loading again. All right, so rewriting the AI personality components. Okay, still populating, still getting things updated. Already noticed though, we need to get the labeling for each of those two personalities should be a lot more interesting and related to the actual personalities of the Cogsworth or Piper. And we need to get good pictures in there. Oh, we got to reload it again. All right, cool. So we got to reload it again. I'll be right back. Let me hit the bathroom really quick. All right, cool. So yeah, it's still loading up the that lore portion for us. So we definitely need to optimize this, but it's cool so far though. Man, it's taking forever to load though. Both of these are. Huh. Yeah, so we need to get that optimized. But for now, it should be fine. We'll get that optimized later. I just want to see how this loads up so we can test out the AI. All right. So we can add nostalgic sound effects for navigation. So we could add Fallout sound effects. We could, but we could add that later if we needed to, if we wanted to. Okay. How do I find my father in Fallout 3? Let's make sure this works right. Okay. We could potentially add buttons for each of the individual Fallout games, just so you don't have to mention which game you're referencing. Video is not available anymore. Okay, so we need to update this so that it references the correct videos for us. Okay. Let's click that again though. Just make sure, okay. Okay. The Cogsworth AI is referencing videos that are not available. Okay. All right, so that should be a pretty simple fix though. Piper, let's test that out. Hey, what is a nuke? Well, no, nuke exists in real life. What is what is RadX? See how Piper answers. It's still it's loading the change at the same time though, so it might not be able to process this. No, it's good. Okay. Hey there, Blue. So you're wondering about RadX, huh? Well, let me spill the beans on that one. RadX is your go-to pre-war cam. All right, cool. So it's in Piper's voice. Don't leave Diamond City without it. All right, cool. So she's referencing Diamond City and everything. That's cool. That's cool. If people are interested in this app, we could definitely add voice functionality on here. But for now, we should be cool. We should be cool. Just takes a little second to actually import the voice of these different characters and add it into the apps, but it's not too crazy. It just takes a second. All right, but we got AI logically functioning and it's working in the personalities of the characters. We just need to make sure even indeed, sir or mom. Finding one's father is a noble quest and it's a great importance in Fallout 3. You see the local. Okay, cool. So this is pretty much Cogsworth's personality. Okay. We could definitely add images and things like that too. But it was even smart enough to understand that Piper's a news reporter, so it got the newspaper for her, and he's a robot. So it's decent. It's decent. Just need to make sure it links to correct videos, though. All right, so what is it going for? The AI is still suggesting videos despite my update. Okay. So it's saying the AI is still suggesting videos. I definitely wanted to suggest videos, just wanted to suggest videos that are actually working. So let's see what we get though. All right, let me test the updated API. Confirm video suggestions are completely removed. Now it's removing video suggestions, so we gotta get that tweaked a little bit more. Let's see. Let me test the API again and confirm the video suggestions are completely removed. Okay. Okay. Issue is that OpenAI is still generating video suggestions. So yeah, now it's kind of catching itself in the loop. I want it to generate videos. I just don't want it to generate non-functional videos. So let's see what we get though. Fixed Cogsworth AI video suggestion issues. Now provides detailed written guidance only. Okay. So let's see what we got. Kind of need the video suggestions. kind of need the video suggestions. Let me see what we get now, though. No, we made a ton of progress. So we do have these cards being pulled. It takes forever now, too. So let me know. The cards are taking too long to load. Optimize the API calls to speed up. Get your quick screenshot. It's taking too long to even test the AI components because it's like it takes a couple minutes to even load up the cards. System is still building up the cache with only 143 entries completed. Okay. API calls are happening in real time while users are trying to browse. Okay, implement caching to serve existing data immediately. Cool. So it does have data saved. It just wasn't showing us the data that was saved. It was just trying to load everything at once. So it should be able to update that and get things fixed. Updated the front end to handle new pagination API responses. Okay. So ideally this can be optimized, and then once this is optimized, we can go ahead and add in the video functionality for Cogsworth. Cause we definitely need, I mean, without the video mechanic, I don't want to ask the AI how to complete a mission without a video. Like that's easily confusing. So now I'll test the API to confirm it's working. Also add auto refresh functionality. All right, cool. Okay. Yeah, I'm trying not to focus too much on optimization right now, but this is just taking forever, so we got to get this updated. Okay, need to fix the circular dependency issues. Okay. All right, cool. Let me see how it works, though. All right, cool. So we don't have to worry about that loading anymore. Okay. So how do I find my father in Fallout 3? Okay, so we technically could add a different AI for each of the Fallout games if we wanted to, you know, if we keep building on this one. But I'm trying to flesh out Skyrim and Starfield now, to be honest. So just got to make sure that the videos get shown. That crash? Oh, it's still making changes. Okay. Okay, so who are two popular Skyrim characters? Actually, Elder Scrolls. No, Skyrim. Most people that use the app probably play Skyrim. All right, cool. So let's get those two character references. Yeah, because we still got to update Skyrim. We got to update Starfield. And we got to... Why is it loading now? We got to update Skyrim, Fallout, and we got to update the main page to be a lot cleaner. So a couple more checkpoints to hit. The system now serves cards immediately. So it was serving cards immediately, but it looks like it changed something while that was building. Let's see, we're getting an error message here? No, we're not. Okay. Error. The page is still loading. All right, so seems like it might have just made a mistake throughout that process of updating. I can see the page is stuck on loading instead of showing the optimized loading experience. Okay. It had it for a second, but I don't know. Or maybe it was loading while we were trying to get things fixed. That's probably what happened, to be honest. Okay. All right, so instead of showing optimized settings, yeah, that's why I don't like focusing on the optimization. There can be a lot of different tweaks that you can make, and can be a time sink. I'm trying to speed things up as fast as possible for this. Okay. So did we get that? See the issue? Page is stuck on the initial loading screen. Okay. All right, so are we good? Let me see. Still making changes. Yeah, because this was already loading. Yeah, it's still loading up. Fixed loading screen, real-time caching built with 155 out of 1,000 entries. That's what I'm going for, though. Working auto refreshes every 3 seconds while database is building. App is now displaying cards as they become available. Still not. So let me try in a private browser just to make sure. But it doesn't seem like that change was able to work correctly. Okay. Yeah, no, it's not a caching situation either. So all right, so just let it know. Change the attempted method because the site is still having loading issues. Yeah, so it keeps, for some reason, Replit thinks that it updated things where it'll load instantly, but it's not loading instantly. It also has 155 out of the 1,000 cards cached, but not seeing them cached entries. The cached entries should be automatically populating, and it's saying every 3 seconds it'll just show a little bit more cards as it loads them. All right, so now it's trying to completely change the method that it's using to pull the information. Yeah, it's a slippery slope with that optimization. When I optimize apps that use Replit, I like to manually go through and plan out exactly how I want to optimize things, comb through the actual code and things like that, and then let Replit know exactly what I want done. Okay, so seems like that issue might be fixed. Let's refresh the page. All right, so it's cool. All right, it's cool. All right, cool. So, okay, so last thing, update the Cogsworth AI to show videos related to the requested mission information. But the videos need to be actually functional. The AI should not suggest non-existent videos. All right, so got the optimization updated slightly. Let's just make sure Cogsworth can really let us know what videos we can reference for these missions. Once this is completed, like I said, we can just scale over to Elder Scrolls and to Starfield. Let's see who we recommended. All right, so Lydia, and I don't even know how to say this. The Dragon. Okay, so the Dragon, that's a really good reference, actually. Okay. So Lydia and replace Lydia. So we can use the dragon. Let me see who this is. I have no idea who this is actually. Oh, so that is the dragon. All right, I remember him. I remember him. All right, cool. So he's the dragon. And Lydia Skyrim. I don't remember. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know who she is. Let me see. Can see Fallout page now working and displaying the AI assistant. Updating Cogsworth to add the video suggestions. Okay, cool. So Serena. Oh, the vampire. Yeah, that's cool. That's cool. That's cool. All right, cool. So the vampire woman can be used for the mission information. No, the dragon. Yeah. She can be used for the mission information, and he can be used for the lore. All right, cool. Do the same for Starfield. Let's just prepare the Starfield AI as well. Okay. All right, so once we know that the videos will generate correctly, we can scale over to Skyrim or to Elder Scrolls, and then we can scale over again to Starfield. Okay. Make sure this is cool though. Make sure everything is functional. Okay. Looks like it thinks things are working. Let's check it out. All right, so how do I find my father in Fallout 4? Okay. And it has that database loading at the bottom too now. Instead of just having us get that loading screen. I'm not getting a video suggestion though. Add curated list to verify Fallout mission walkthrough videos. Okay. Yeah, it didn't suggest a video for us. Let's see. A video was not suggested. Okay. All right, cool. So let her know video was not suggested. Let's try here. Make sure. We could add buttons also for each of the Fallout games. So that's a quick fix. We can add that in before we scale over. Yeah, it's not suggesting a video. All right, cool. So I can see Cosgrove provided a detailed response, but didn't include video suggestions. Issue is the AI isn't properly matching questions to available videos. Okay. So we should be able to get that updated for us. Should be able to get that updated for us. In a fully fleshed out version of this project, we could definitely just have a button where you note that you need a video. So it can give you that breakdown and can give you a video. I also would limit the amount of text that these AI give as a result. But for now, this is just, it's one of the 30 apps I'm building in 30 days. Really just want to prove that's possible. All right, so let me test the updated Cogsworth AI to ensure provided video suggestions. Cool, optimizing things for us. Make sure these are still loading. Loading lower entry, okay. Yeah, so the optimization definitely is gonna need work. Okay. See. All right, so still getting things updated for us. Issue is that the fallback logic for video suggestions isn't working. Okay. Yeah, I could tell. All right, let's see if we can get that resolved though. Let me test the updated Cogsworth AI to see if it provides video suggestions. Okay. Yeah, it's still updating. Okay, still loading those changes. Okay. How do I find my father Fallout 4? All right, so okay. All right, so it makes sense that it might not recommend a video because I said father, not son. So, see, how do you find your son? It's not giving me a video recommendation. Fix video suggestion logic to ensure. Yeah, didn't have videos yet. Let's try that one more time really quick. We had videos generating originally, it just wasn't, they didn't function. All right, so error, still not showing video recommend. All right, cool. So see if we can get this resolved. Yeah, that's one of the, it seems like it's kind of getting caught in a loop here. Keeps giving us the same results. It's loading lower entries. Let's make sure these lower entries are loading actually. Yeah, it seems like with that optimization, it also is having. Okay, so some of these are loading now. Okay. It's taking a while to load some of these. Huh. See how much cars it's actually giving us now. It's not populating the amount of cars that are showing. Building database 155 out of 1,000 entries loaded. Okay. Definitely needs to be cleaned up a little bit here and there. Really want this video functionality though, because that really adds utility to the site. So we need that. All right, so it's still trying to get that updated for us. Okay, so they do load. They just take a while to load up. Okay. Soon as the AI is able to drop in video recommendations, we can scale up to Skyrim. Okay. Simplified logic. Every response includes real YouTube guides. Added debug logging. All right, cool. So how do I find my son in Fallout 4? Let's go. Come on. Come on, Cogsworth. Still not giving us the recommendation. All right, let's check it out in another occasion. I'm actually going to potentially reboot. I'm going to reboot the server really quick. Yeah, because it's saying it's always providing a video. It hasn't provided a video once, except for originally. Okay. How do I find my father in Fallout 3? See how it goes. See. Yep, never recommending a video. Still no video recommended. Man, it's being pretty stubborn. I know it's able to recommend videos because it did it originally. It's just not understanding what the problem is now. I can see the server logs that the AI is responding with video suggestions, but they're not reaching the front end. Okay, cool. So now it is recommending videos. It's just not showing yet. Should be simple to add in. Okay. Okay, it looks like it's understanding the problem and is getting things fixed for us this time. Oh, okay. So we're still removing the videos from our previous issue. Okay. Looks like that might have been resolved. And the server's reloading for us. Let me see. Okay. How do I find my father in Fallout 3? Come on, Cogsworth, man. Come on. All right, cool. So we got 2 video recommendations. Let's try this one. Playlist doesn't exist. Playlist doesn't exist. All right, so closer. No cigar. We're actually pretty much where we were before we made any changes today. All right, cool. So error. The videos recommended are not accessible. We need videos recommended, but they need to actually be accessible. All right, so let's see what we can get. Let me see if it ever recommend. And this is Fallout 4. Yeah, it's struggling with these video components. Fallout 4. Let me try a different question really quick. See if it can give me a video that works ever. I'm not sure why it's linking to so much of these dead videos. Like, there's not that much dead videos. This is a completely wrong. Okay. We need video recommendations, but they need to actually be accessible. Accessible, related to the actual question, and accessible and functional. All right, cool. So video recommendations recommended are not accessible or unrelated. All right, so one more try on this. One more try. We're getting closer. We're getting closer. Okay. It's updating the AI search capabilities, making sure the AI actually compares things and references the information a little bit more accurately. Okay. Searching for actual working Fallout videos. Okay, cool, cool. So ideally we can get this functional now, but I'm trying to move on to Skyrim, man. Okay. Yeah, it looks like things are getting updated. We have things prepared. We have the AI personalities prepared. Vasco and Sarah. Yeah. Serena and the dragon, however you would say his name. So we got people prepared. Everything. This is scalable. For sure. We have all the functionality. Just need the AI to recommend videos. Okay, updating the video guide logic to be game specific and use actual working YouTube URLs. Okay, let's see what we get back. See what we get back. Okay, okay. Yes, it looks like it's still populating. Okay, so some of these don't have related, looks like. Okay. All right, all right. Yeah, we could definitely update the metrics to make sure it's able to pull more entries, but for now, it's cool. A lot of optimization that can be done. You see, searching for actual working YouTube URLs of specific Fallout walkthrough videos. Okay. Need to find working YouTube videos for actual Fallout walkthroughs. Okay. Yeah, it's really just combing through and processing exactly how to pull this information for these videos. So might take a second, but at least it's seems like it's going in the right direction now. All right. Let's see. YouTube AI chess breach. All right, looks like it found some groups that it can pull videos from. Okay. Trying to see what we get back from this. Still loading up these changes for us. Yeah, so let me see what colors we should use for for Skyrim. What colors would be good to use for an Elder Scrolls app? And same for Starfield. All right, so this is loading up the colors at least, so we can add that, so we can make sure that each one of these different portions have their own color coding. All right. Fixing the duplicate. All right, it's still working, getting things updated. System is correctly detecting Fallout 3 from the father keyword. Yeah, still getting things updated. This might be a little bit too advanced for this same day app. Might be a little bit too advanced of a feature for us for right now. But let's see what we get. I believe it should be able to do it. It's recommending videos. It's just not giving us the best options. Not giving us the most logical videos to reference. Let's see. Okay. How do I find my father in Fallout 3? All right, come on, Cogsworth. Come on, man. Okay, now it's linking the walkthroughs. Okay, that's cool. Playlist doesn't exist. What is up with this? All right, so yeah, I'm not gonna spend too much more time on this one for adding in these video links. We can double back later if it makes sense. I'm trying to get the Elder Scrolls functionality. Okay. It also seems like the Replit is really kind of in a loop now. So I'm not trying to keep when you keep trying to fix the same issue and it gives you the same results over and over again, it's usually a good idea to move away to another section of the app and then double back later. All right, so say no, reference the Fallout section to add all of the same functionality and detail to the Elder Scrolls section. Okay. Replace the AI personalities with we're using Serena and the dragon. Okay. All right, so she will be missions and he will be lore. Yeah, I just feel like it'll be a lot more trial and error than expected for those videos to be working correctly. Okay. So this should be able to import. Oh yeah, let's add the color coding. Change the color coding of the Elder Scrolls page to use. You see, what colors are we recommended? I'm not even going to specify the colors. Let's just say Skyrim or Elder Scrolls related colors. All right, cool. So basically this request should be able to gut all of the Fallout information for this section of the page, add all the same functionality for Elder Scrolls, but just update the color coding to be Elder Scrolls related colors, and use Serena and the dragon from Skyrim for the different AI components. Serena will reference missions, the dragon will reference lore information, and yeah, it should be able to update the colors, and instead of using Fallout related cards, it'll use Skyrim related or Elder Scrolls in general. So should be pretty cool. It's loading up those changes for us, and once this is completed, we can just scale that over to Starfield as well, and then we can update this main page and the home page respectively, and we should be good. Might need to double back on those actual video links, but it does give you a breakdown and it can guide you to completing any mission, but it just doesn't have that video functionality for some reason. Might need to import the YouTube API or something like that to get more accuracy in there. I'm sure there's some database we can reference or some walkthrough, or it could even, instead of referencing a video, it could reference guides. But that's more of a manual testing and changing things. Okay. So let's get that Elder Scrolls page updated for us now. Okay. All right, so it's updating the AI section now. Let me see if we can see any changes. Not showing those changes yet, but they might show up in real time. Not 100% though. Might just I'm assuming it might just make all the changes and then update the front end all at once. Okay. Okay, so the AI is here. Okay. Now it's updating the page. Okay, it's still working on the AI. Now it's updating the color coding. Comprehensive Elder Scrolls storage system. All right, cool. So it's getting those lore cards updated and the different genres like Fallout's using. It's importing that portion over. That's why we wanted to spend so much time on the Fallout section, because everything should be able to scale if you do it correctly. All right, so Fallout, Elder Scrolls, still hasn't updated these cards yet. Okay. Elder Scrolls specific styling and create a comprehensive storage system. Okay. Yeah, it's still loading up those changes for us. I can see the stylization is updated a little bit. Got this gold glow. Okay. How do I kill the... I don't know. I guess evil dragon. Say. Let me see if the AI is able to load up, process requests. Evil dragon you seek to vanish most likely refers to Alden. Okay, so it's able to understand and guide the answer a little bit. It has references. I'm assuming these don't work, but let's test them out really quick just in case. Yeah, playlist doesn't exist. I don't know why it only links. That's so weird, because I'm assuming there will be more functional videos than non-functional videos here. But all right, let's ask the dragon, where do magic powers come from in Elder Scrolls? I'm gonna just say, where do they come from? He knows what universe he's in. So let's test this out really quick. All right, where do magic powers come from? Make sure he works. It's still updating the changes for the site though, so it might not be able to load that. All right, cool. Drem Yo Lok Jor. To understand the source of magic, the Thum, as some may liken it, we must derive into the very fabric of. Cool. All right. So seems like it's answering logically. They are windows to time, bearers of prophecy. They are beyond the machination of the. Yeah, for sure. All right, so it looks like it's comprehending the question and giving us a logical answer based on his personality and based on the universe that they exist in. So that's successful there. So it's definitely some optimization we can do. We can narrow down the answers. That's one thing I would definitely want to focus on first. If this app ends up being one that people gravitate towards, definitely want to limit the length of the answers. Make sure the video functionality is actually functional. Update the pictures, and I think it would be really cool to have a range of pictures. So for instance, if you are disrespectful to the AI character, it should change to an angry picture, and if you're nice to the character, it should use a happy picture, so I think that'll be a cool simple feature to add in. Just add a motion check, pretty much similar to how these games actually function. Have a faction ranking, things like that. All right, cool. So it's updating these cards for us now. Got a decent amount in here, so it's processing and it's understanding the request for us. It seems like just need to get these images updated. Let me see if it's able to process that correctly. We do have 2 APIs referenced for the images, so it might be processing that for a second. Okay, so it does say it's updated. Okay, added complete Elder Scrolls section with full feature parity. Okay, so it thinks that it's done, but we don't have the images showing up. Okay, so let's get that updated. AI works though, we just can't get those videos to function. Okay, the cards do not have pictures or images. Let me see if these are clickable at least. All right, they're clickable. Okay. All right, so just note that they don't have the images showing. It's not populating the home page either with the amount of entries that are showing. But once we update Elder Scrolls, we're going to update Starfield, and then we're going to update this page here last. Because all the different optimizations and features we have for each of these individual pages will be understood by Replit. So the main page will be just the easiest thing to update, but at the same time, it should have the highest quality or higher quality than it would have had. All right, so, okay. Elder Scrolls storage is using placeholders. Need to integrate Elder Scrolls storage with the Fandom API. Okay, it's updating. I can notice here it says I need to integrate the Elder Scrolls storage with the Fandom API system to get authentic Elder Scrolls images, just like the Fallout section. So it's using the Fallout section to understand how to get the images in correctly. We had a little bit of struggle getting the Fallout images to update correctly, but now it should understand how things work a little bit better. So it should be smooth with the transition. Okay. Yeah, still getting these updates done. Looks like it's processing those changes for us. Okay. So I'm not seeing the placeholder images now, but it's not showing us correct images yet either. Okay. So it says it believes it's pulling in images correctly. Oh, it's still updating. It might populate those at the end. Let me see. Yeah, it's still not populating those images yet. I think it might be pulling images, but they're just not showing on the front end. I'm seeing all these error messages. Let me see. Image failed to load. Yep. So it's trying to get images in, but it's just looks like it the code that it's trying to use to get the images in has some errors. Images are not showing, and console is giving errors. So catch this console log error as well. All right. So with those two, it should be able to understand the problem. Image links are not being able to connect correctly. Proxied image failed to load. Okay. So it looks like it's finding the images correctly, but it's not loading. So yeah, it's just syntax error. I can see the issue. The problem is with URL parsing. Okay. Elder Scrolls wiki URLs are being double encoded. Yeah, so syntax error. All right. Server is restarting. Okay. Yeah, it's still using curl requests. So it's just testing things out for us. Still getting those same errors. You see. Nope, still not functional yet. See. All right, so just noting, same issue is showing. Attempt another method to solve the problem. Yeah, it's weird it's not able to pull the images. It's already able to reference the API correctly for Fallout. I don't know why I would have a problem with Skyrim section. It's using the same API, or it should be. I can see the issue. Elder Scrolls wiki URLs contain special characters. Okay. Let me pause that fix really quick. It was about to attempt to use placeholders. Do not use placeholders. Follow the same method used for the images appearing in the Fallout portion. To solve the issue. All right, so as always, Replit is attempting to default to placeholder images, which is never good. Never want to use placeholder images. So I'll just stop that change and let it know. Use the same strategy as Fallout to solve the issue. Okay. I need to use the same authentic image approach. Okay. Looks like it gets the request. Okay. I need to modify the Elder Scrolls storage to use the same successful Phantom API and backup image service. Okay. So understands the request. Had to be a little bit more specific, but it should be able to process this information. It has a working method to pull Fallout images, so it shouldn't be able to, or it shouldn't have a problem with doing the same for this. It was able to pull the data though. It's interesting. The cars are all pulled in. Everything's okay. So it's not able to link to it's not able to link to relative entries yet. But at a minimum, each one of these cards is functional and giving data and information correctly. See the filters. All right. Oh yeah, it's still updating these changes for us. I would believe it will be able to scale up, but it seems like it's trying to use a different method. Yeah, it seemed like it was trying to reference another API outside of the one that was functional, the fandom API that we were using for Fallout. But it's still getting things updated. Okay. System is starting up. Still not seeing the images though. They're just not populating. It's weird. Let's see what we can get. System is starting up successfully. See the Elder Scrolls images. Okay. The images are still not populating. Yeah, for some reason, the more I use Replit, it seems like when you use it for an extended period of time, it's more, it has a higher chance of getting caught in a loop. Like this seems like a loop, but it's also attempting different methods, but the result is still the exact same. This is the exact same error message that it was pulling in. Proxied image failed to load, so it's just not processing the images correctly. Let me see. I believe Replit should be able to solve this problem though. Just need to let it do its thing for a second more. It is interesting though. It's giving us the exact same error message, which makes it seem like it didn't even change the way it was trying to call the images. But okay, so they're trying to pull images from the Fallout Wikipedia for some reason. Okay. Okay, so it was trying to use the fandom API works for both Fallout and Skyrim, but it was using the Fallout version of the API, I guess for lack of better words, but seems like it understands that now and it's trying to pull from the Elder Scrolls section. Okay. See if we can get this updated. Still giving the same issue. All right, so let's see. The core problem is now fixed. Elder Scrolls section was trying to use Fallout Wiki. I created a proper Elder Scrolls API that fetches from elderscrolls.fandom.com. Okay, yeah, I'm not sure why it seems like it's still giving us the same exact results though. Error. The exact same issue is still showing. No changes are showing. Yeah, it's definitely still using the same method to call. It's not cached. Same exact error message showing. Huh. Let me see if we can get some updates on this one. Yeah, see, this is a situation where if I wasn't doing this challenge where everything needs to be 100% automated, I would definitely start researching the API calls and find a more accurate way to do it. But just trying to make sure that this is possible for people who have zero experience with coding and no experience at all with APIs. So, but Replit should be able to get this resolved for us though. I can see the response is finally coming through. So, all right, so now we're getting to 200 responses, which means it's successful, allegedly, but still seeing the same results on our end. Let's see. Issue might be the front end is caching old failed responses. No, it's definitely not caching old responses, but let's verify that though. Okay. Let's try a private browser. Okay. Yeah, it's still showing us the exact same results on a private browser. Problem is that the browser is likely caching. Yeah, it's not caching. Error. Same issue. Attempted on multiple browsers with the same result. Yeah, I'm not. Yeah, these loops were Reddit. It's giving us the exact same error messages as a result. So I'm not sure what it's trying to change, but it's not doing anything that's showing any actual result on our end. So I'm trying to think how to get this resolved without going through the API manually. Kind of curl request is it sending out? It's calling the image URL and getting a 200 response. So it's basically testing the URL and it's making sure that the URL works that for the image, but it's not working on our end. So it's weird. And now it's not even loading the request that we made. Okay. I don't believe it's actually, I don't know. It doesn't seem like it's actually doing the changes that it's saying that it's doing, because it can't get a 200 call response and still not be able to load the images. It wouldn't show this error message if it was given a 200. Okay. So I guess they're testing the images from the wrong place. It says the Node.js URL constructor parses the URL correctly. That means the issue is in a different portion. Okay. See, get back. Client code looks correct. Issue somewhere in the entry image field. Yes, the format for these images is obviously just wrong. So I don't know if it's adding extra text in there that's causing a problem, but it's definitely not functional. And I feel like Replit might be caught in a loop here pretty much. When the client then tries to use, okay. I need to fix this by storing the raw image URLs in the database, not the proxy URLs. Okay. All right. So it looks like it was using the wrong URL for the images. It was using a proxy URL instead of the real URL. Proxy URL is pretty much a security mechanism that makes it so that we don't actually access the direct image URL. It's a little bit safer for hacking and things like that, but I'm not sure. I'm not sure if it's even able to access the real. All right, cool. So we got the images showing now. It seems like, all right, let me let this load. It seems like it's loading, but I'm just wondering why it took so long to get that completed for Replit. Should have been able to get that done a lot faster. Every time I use Replit for a long period of time in one setting, it seems like it gives me more issues. And these images are not populating correctly. Yeah. Yeah, it's showing us wrong images for some of these. None of these problems are showing for Fallout. I don't know why it's not just using the same format. Okay, so let's the images are not correct for some of the cards showing in the Elder Scrolls portion. All right, so yeah, I don't know why I don't know where it's getting these images from, but it's not using the same format as Fallout. I know that. Yeah, and it also didn't resize the images like it did for Fallout. So it didn't scale up the way we built the Fallout portion. And that was the whole goal. Let me see if we can get this better. Use the same method that was used to pull the accurate images from Fallout a portion. Make sure for Elder Scrolls, the Elder Scrolls Phantom API is referenced. But use the same filter methods and resizing methods that were effective for Fallout. Yeah, this is giving a lot of problems that it should not be giving. That was the whole reason we did the Fallout portion the way we did, was because ideally we should have been able to scale over. I'm also noticing the caching methods are different, because in Fallout you can see here it's building the database and it lets us know how much of the 1,000 cards are currently active. But in the Elder Scrolls portion, it does not give that, and these seem to be cached or some type of locally stored information. So that's just 100% just completely different. And this is a Fallout image. So yeah, this is not, man. Yeah, this is not lining up correctly. Now I need to clear the Elder Scrolls cache and restart it. New robust image filtering. Okay. All right. So it looks like now it's comparing them. Let's see what we get though. Problem is, with this much, we made a lot of progress and it's not seeming like it was built correctly fundamentally. So that causes a lot more problems. It's always harder to fix an issue after you've built over it than it is to just prevent the issue in the first place. But let's see how it goes. It looks like it's at least loading the database like Fallout does now. No lore entries found. It's still loading. Okay. Let me see. No lower entries found. All right, so at least it seems like it changed how it's trying to pull the information. But it wasn't able to pull any of the lore, but it at least it seems like it's using a different method. That's the thing with this challenge, doing all of these apps without any manual changes, things like this can be very bug fixes are something that is a lot easier when you're making manual changes versus just automating them, because the AI can change things that a normal human being wouldn't change because they know they shouldn't change them. So it can get pretty sticky pretty quick. Let me see. But I don't know. I have faith though. I feel like it should be able to potentially get things corrected. If not, this is a... Well, let's see if we can fix it. All right, so saying you can see the root issue. Okay, Elder Scrolls cache was cleared and it's starting fresh. Looking at the logs, Fallout successfully caches 155. Okay, Elder Scrolls still 0. Just trying to get that solved. Logs show no Elder Scrolls processing activity. No debug messages. Okay. Let me see. Saying no debug logs, etc. All right. Looks like it might be processing things a little bit better now. At least it has a way better understanding of what we're trying to do, at least, from what I can tell. Still testing. Yeah, still not getting no lore entries. Okay. So not finding sufficient content. All right. So it's debugging now. So it's actually understanding that the lore isn't showing. Seems like it's trying to change the way it's calling the Elder Scrolls API. Okay. It's just trying to change how it's calling the API information for us. Should be able to get things updated though. I mean, it's pretty simple request. It should be able to process the API instead of Fallout using Elder Scrolls. I'm not sure why it's having this much issues, to be honest. All right, so apparently it's attempting to load in the databases now. No lore found still. But it's still loading. It definitely understands that there's 0 entries showing now, so it is working to get that solved for us. Seems like it's a lot more accurate with the bug fix attempts. See how it goes though. Okay. Elder Scrolls cache cleared. Okay. Let's get those data points though. Saying cache is cleared, but still getting that 0 entries. No error messages this time. Okay. Ideally, it should be able to understand the differences between the Fallout and the Elder Scrolls API. And once it gets that resolved, Adding Starfield in should be a lot more straightforward. It should be able to check those same changes, but I don't know. This should have been pretty easy as well. It's using the exact same API, just a different game. Storage is not initialized. Okay. Yeah, still loading up these changes. All right. Kind of better. The images are wrong. Let me see. The database at least seems like it's being built correctly this time. Yeah, it's still loading changes. Okay. Progress, but still showing us the wrong images. Okay, API response shows 663 characters. Yeah, I don't know why it's showing us these completely wrong images. It's like any of the... No, that's Soul Gem. That's not even a person. Yeah, we gotta get this updated. Okay, so it's giving us correct data, but the images are not correct. Okay, so error. The images are incorrect. All right, let's just keep it simple. Images are incorrect. So it can at least evaluate the method it's pulling these images. And man, it's 10 o'clock. Like, we're 3 hours in, and it's really giving us these simple problems that shouldn't show up. We could add AI, no problem, but can't get the right pictures showing for these guys. So let's see what we get though. Let me fix this by implementing the exact same image validation logic that worked in Fallout. Yeah, you should automatically... I already requested to implement the same metrics. Okay. So it might have cached the wrong images. At least that's what Replit is suggesting, but I don't think that's the case, to be honest. I think it's just attempting the wrong path for these images. It's also not resizing these images correctly like Fallout does. Okay. Let me wait for the new logs to show the improvement. Okay, so I can see the Elder Scrolls processing is now working with the new robust image filtering. These are all PNG files from the Elder Scrolls domain with authentic game content. Okay. All right, so just trying to see the results of this now. At this point, I'm not really sure if Replit is going to give us logic for this response. It's also loading very fast, which makes me think it's not processing things correctly. Or it might have been using placeholder images. So applied exact same robust image filtering. Added comprehensive real person photo detection. Enhanced domain validation. Only show authentic Elder Scroll wiki images. Okay. So it's still not showing a lot of these images though. So it looks like all the images that were not supposed to be here are now gone. But we have a backup method. Use the backup method. Pulling the images that are not populating. And resize the images same as the Fallout portion. Follow the rules that worked for Fallout. Just verify. Yeah, let's just say follow the same rules that work for Fallout. Like it's giving us a lot of problems for some reason. These are all correct images now, but a lot of these are just not populating though. It's progress, but I'm just not understanding why Replit would ignore the request to follow the same strategy that we use for Fallout, and I'm trying to get that. I'm trying to understand how that works because we need to be able to scale this up for potentially every Bethesda game. But it's kind of doing this on its own individually. All right, so I understand need to enhance Elder Scrolls backup image system. Okay. All right, so it seems like it's using that backup API now. It's interesting because we have a backup API for all these images that are not populated. Already have that set up, so it should be able to pull from there. And it's also still not, it hasn't resized these images, and I asked for that as well. It's not showing any of these characters' heads. They're all cut off. Okay. All right. All the images are populated now. Okay. Except for Dark Brotherhood, looks like. Or maybe it's just loading. All right, images are populated now, but it didn't resize them. It's like ignoring portions of the request. Okay, resize the images, same as Fallout. Like, okay. So we pretty much got it set up. We have the AI, we can ask for missions, information, have the lore information AI as well. Have all of these different images and different components of lore. Should be segmented correctly. Let me see if these populate images. Yeah, they are populating images. Okay. Just gotta get these resized. It's the bloodline. Some of these images could be updated a little bit, but seems like for the most part, they're pretty good. All right, so just trying to get these images resized now. See. Yeah, I asked it to scale all of the features of the Fallout portion to the Elder Scrolls portion, and all the functionality just update for Fallout or to Elder Scrolls from Fallout, and it seems like it just didn't really follow through with that request and caused a lot of different small issues for us. And that's tough because if it's not able to scale, then it's not really a functional method to add all the. If it's able to scale from Fallout to Elder Scrolls, then it would be able to scale to Starfield, Doom, every other Bethesda franchise, and that's really the goal. Pretty much have one button press and you can add all the franchise information and AI metrics and stuff like that. Let's see. Okay. Okay, it might have updated for us. Let's check it out. Yeah, it didn't. All right, so it didn't resize these images for us like we requested. Uh Apply the exact same image sizing as Fallout. Created dedicated. Okay. Yeah, it didn't follow through. Images are cut off. Let me just note the images are cut off and give it a picture. I'm gonna just leave it at Elder Scrolls. Honestly, I'm not even gonna mess with the Starfield section. Seems like it's just not able to scale at all at this point. It can't even resize the images based on how I resized them for Fallout. So I mean, we could add in Starfield, but it would just be tedious and it wouldn't really be automated pretty much because every single feature needs to be manually requested now. So yeah, I mean, we're doing 30 apps in 30 days, so sometimes things will be more smooth. A lot of times I've been surprised by how smooth it's went, like the anime app, the movie app, the solo leveling app. There was a lot of apps that we did that were really smooth and really surprising how nice they worked out. The conspiracy theory app was really great too, but I don't know, you never know. Sometimes things just won't work as smoothly as you expect. Yeah, it's still not updating. What is up with this? It has not resized any of these images at all yet. That's the third time I requested it. Yeah, this just seems like it's a situation where like the longer you run Replit in one setting, it just kind of starts having more and more issues show up. So honestly, I'm gonna leave it for now. We got decent progress. We got functionality in a lot of ways. How do I find the strongest sword in Morrowind? All right, so let's just make sure the AI is still functional. All right. There lies a weapon of great power known as Krasmir, the Paladin's Blade. All right, cool. So the AI components still work perfectly fine. Each one of these cards are functional. Let me see if this is able to load. Yeah, so it seems like it didn't add the related entry functionality that we had from Fallout. The AI component works fine, but these images haven't been resized correctly either. Still has some of the color coding from the Fallout section. So it just didn't carry over a lot of the requests that we were making, but hey, it's 30 apps in 30 days. Sometimes the apps aren't going to function as well. Sometimes they're going to function a little bit better, but every day we're going to find out. Every day we're going to push things to the limit and see how far we can get with the AI. But yeah, this is app 18. Yeah, we could have cut some features out and got it working a little bit more functional, but I'd rather just leave this where it's at right now. We might possibly want to go back to this one in the future. I might actually check this out behind the scenes, see if we can find an easy way get things resolved. But that's another day. That's another app. My name is Adrian Glenn. You've been watching Military Grade Automation. If you learned anything, appreciate a like, comment, subscribe always. But yeah, that's a wrap for the day. Guys, have a great weekend. Yup.